This is Buffalo History Week, and local educator Jay Hall is back with a great project for our students out there.
Good morning and welcome back to Schoolhouse 7. This is Local History Day 2. Let's get started because we created a Buffalo history timeline that goes all the way back to 7000 BCE when the Paleo-Americans, following their ancestors who crossed the Bering Land Bridge years earlier, finally made their way into Western New York. Fast forward a couple thousand more years later, and then we have Native American cultures thriving in America, especially right here in Western New York with the Eastern Woodland tribes. Then in 1400, here in Western New York, tribes were thriving as farmers, growing the Three Sisters, beans, corn, and squash. Then in 1451, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy is established with the Hiawatha Wampum Belt. This united the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, and Mohawk tribes officially here in New York State. But in 1653, the Seneca took over the territory of Western New York by defeating the Wenro and the Erie, so that's why we have such a presence of Seneca natives here in Western New York. Okay, fast forward to 1750, European settlers continued to come to Buffalo. Here's a drawing of the harbor in 1750. Then in 1775, the Revolutionary War begins, pitting the British versus the Americans. The Iroquois, many of the tribes, decided to join the British. Unfortunately, they lost the war, and as a result, we had things like the Treaty of Fort Stanwix in 1797, and other treaties which forced Native Americans to local reservations, some of which are no longer there. Then we fast forward to 1804, and this is when Joseph Ellicott produced the first road map of Buffalo, New York, and it was one of the only in America with a circle at the center. Then in 1810, Buffalo officially becomes a town, but in 1813, Buffalo and Black Rock were both burned to the ground in the War of 1812. But in 1816, we rebuilt. But in 1825, something huge happened. The Erie Canal was opened for the first time, and as you know, this led to other things like grain production and the grain elevator. And then by the year 1901, Buffalo was the 8th largest city in America. So get out there and learn some Buffalo history, do some great reading, keep writing, but most importantly, be safe.
Wow, there's some history here, that's for sure. Goodness me. If you want to find out more, jhallbuffalo@gmail.com.